Hey, look, we're live. The little yellow light popped on. So last night, I decided that Keith and I needed a break, so we went to a Brazilian steakhouse for the first time. And I've never been to one before. Apparently he had, and he knew what was coming. I had an idea as to what was coming, but if you've never been to a Brazilian steakhouse, basically what it is you go to a salad bar and you grab all your fixins, so like, any salad you might want or any vegetables. They also have like salmon and cheese and salami for whatever reason, but it was really good salami. Um, and they have all the vegetables, and then you sit down at your table and you get a little card. One side is red and one side is green. When the red side is up, nobody comes by. But if it's the green side that's up, then people come by with skewers of meat, and they just shave it off and they put it on your plate. And there are 14 types of meat that are walking around.
So it's a meat extravaganza.
It is literally the worst nightmare for vegetarians. Yeah. And so last night we decided to do this for the first time. And, well, first time for me. He's been before. And so I get myself a little salad.
So Naki, this was your first exposure to that much meat?
Oh my god, there was so much meat. It was a meat orgy in my mouth.
I'm so glad that's set up.
There's the new title for the episode right there. Meat orgy in Naki's mouth.
So there was like, so I got myself like a little salad. I had some salmon. I had salami. I had some prosciutto. I had mushrooms. I had a little bit of chicken salad. I was just like, there we go. I have veggies now. This will be a nice, well-balanced meal. And then they bring out the sides, and you've got mashed potatoes and fried polenta, fried bananas, these little cheese bread things that are super delicious. And then suddenly the meat started coming. All right, guys, I know I just said the meat is coming, but we have to focus.
I was trying not to say anything.
Also, Max is now going insane. Sorry. You're going to hear my dog for a second.
He wants the meat.
He wants the meat. We came home and he could smell the meat. And the skewers started coming. It started off with like this filet mignon that was amazing. And then there was the ribeye. And then there was the chef special. And then there was chicken. And then there was pork. And then there was ribs, and then there was sausage, and then there was more beef that was steak. I don't even know what it was anymore. It was delicious, whatever it was. I swear to God, guys, I had 12 out of 14 different types of meat last night.
Nice.
And
why didn't you have 14 out of 14? That's the real question.
Yeah, what are the two that you didn't want? Or
I did not want the Parmesan pork. I don't like Parmesan and pork mixed together.
That sounds good.
I passed on the bacon wrapped chicken because I had already eaten so much at that point that I really just wanted to try the Brazilian sausage. I know what I just said.
You did. SP is cracking up about all of your meat talk right here.
I'm sure.
I'm sure. The coming meat.
So I just wanted the Brazilian sausage. I said it again. And I was just like passing at that point. I'm like, please, just bring me sausage, and then I'm going to be done forever.
Just bring Naki the sausage and be done with it.
SP can't breathe, he says in the chat room.
Nice.
Oh, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be a whole new intro for me. Like everything I'm saying
This is going to be the intro of the show from now on.
That's awesome.
This entire monologue is the new intro.
So the one you go to only does meat on skewers?
And it's really, really like hot and sizzling meat. And oh god, why do I keep saying it? And
that's awesome. Yeah, I love a place like that. But the one we have here called Tucanos, everything is on the salad bar. So like the soups, the potatoes, all of that stuff's part of the salad bar. But then the skewers, they bring meat, but they also bring brisket in like a bowl that they use tongs to drop on your plate. And then they bring full-size honey glazed roasted pineapples that they slice that off of too.
See, I can't eat pineapple because that will literally.
God.
I'm deathly allergic to pineapple, so that would
be worth it. It's so good, it would be worth it.
They give you, like, at your table setting, there's little tongs that you can pick the meat off of the skewers that they're slicing for you.
Yeah, our place has that too. Yeah, it's one of the greatest things ever.
Okay, so then we're completely filled with meat, and we're just like literally
Were you completely filled, Naki?
completely filled
There
with
was
meat.
no room for any more meat.
There was no room. Keith and I are debating napping in the corner because they gave us a nice little corner table, and we're like, maybe if we crawl under the table and take a nap, they'll stop coming around. Because even though our cards were red, they were still showing up at our table. We're like, stop. There's so much meat in us right now. So then our waiter came back around. Oh, by the way, this entire time, anytime I took a sip of water, the waiter was right there filling my glass. So I was drowning from water and drowning from meat. So I've got like this combination of meat and water thing going on. And then he comes back around and offers us dessert. And the first time we say no, because we're like, no, this will be a terrible idea. But then he kind of got flirty with the boyfriend, and he's like, you want dessert. Suddenly, we have a molten chocolate cake on our table.
Nice.
Was there meat in the cake?
There was no meat in the cake, but there was still the meat walking around, and we still had our plates. So it was just like, what is happening? They're still trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us with all this food. So we ate the cake, obviously. He had coffee with it, with the hopes that maybe it'll push some of the stuff out of him at this point.
You want to push the meat out of him?
I gotta push the meat out. Because, oh my god, guys, there was so much meat.
Oh, dear Lord.
I love the Takano's place here. We go 3 times a year because it's free on your birthday. So we go on my birthday and each of my 2 best friends. Because 3 times a year is all we can handle.
We don't have that. This is the first time, boyfriend and I have been together almost a year and a half, and this is the first time we've ever gone, and it will be probably another year and a half before we go again. And so we get home.
Awesome.
First off, walking to the car was fucking painful. Like, everything is in my chest, and I'm just like, I can't breathe. There is so much food and meat and cake just packed inside me that I literally hurt. I'm gonna kill Anthony before this monologue is done.
So it's like every other episode where you threaten to kill him.
No, he's just gonna die from me talking about being packed with meat.
You gotta stop serving it up so easily.
It's easy for me to serve up meat, though.
Oh, dear Lord.
So we get to the car, and I'm literally in so much pain I can't move. And get home, I took off my shoes and just stayed on the floor in the living room for like an hour, not moving, because there was so much meat inside of me that I was dying. And then the meat sweat started, and everything was hot, and I could not move. And it was so hot, and I was so uncomfortable. And that is my trip to the Brazilian steakhouse. That will never happen again.
Wow, so looking in the chat room, this seems to be a pretty good story in people's minds. SP has said this is so much better than Tommy's story, even the broken TV story. And Dr. Bob says, so much meat, such little time.
The thing is that, like, we were laughing because they have only 15-minute increments for their reservations. So I'm like, well, why only 15 minutes? Do people literally only stay here for 15 minutes? Now I understand. They pack you so fast and so quickly with so much meat.
He says stop and he can't breathe.
It's a Brazilian meat packing plant.
Like, we were like, for how much we ate, we were only there for like 45 minutes, guys.
Wow.
Wow, that's kind of impressive.
They were so fast. Anthony's gonna die.
I don't even know how to respond from here.
And that's the show for today. Goodbye.
Yep. Naki's Meat Orgy. Have a good week.
I'm really at a loss.
Oh my god, I actually did it. I made Chris speechless.
So,
today is the winning day for me. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. I'm gonna die.
Chris, tell us why your shirt's the wrong color.
It's because of the meat.
Ugh.
That's not why your shirt's the wrong color.
So, guys, now that we've heard the story of Naki's meat orgy, I think we should probably move into the regular part of the show.
I am packed with so much meat.
You're not making it any better. So welcome everyone to episode 148 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, recorded live on March 1st, 2015. As you can tell, we got the full house here. We've got Naki, Anthony, and myself. We're here to entertain you and tell you about the news that has gone on in the last week.
And the meat sweats.
And
the meat sweats.
We figure we should start with something funny because and the terribleness that I went through just for your entertainment, because it's been a pretty sad week.
Yeah, we should have some laughs. We'll talk about what is arguably one of the bigger stories this week, and then we'll roll into the news of the week, which is hopefully happier stuff. But I'm sure you all have heard by now that Leonard Nimoy passed away this week, on Friday actually. He lost his fight with the end stages of COPD, and it's kind of a bummer, man. It's not something that was unexpected, I don't think. I'm sorry?
Grandpa says don't smoke.
Yeah. I mean, and
He
Leonard
spent like
Nimoy...
100 years stating that publicly.
Yep. He said himself before that the smoking is what made him so sick, and like I said, I don't think it was unexpected, but the fact that it happened, you're just like, oh, man. It hurts. There have been some... Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, even as not a Star Trek fan, it hurts. You know, he was just in general, he was a great person.
And he did a lot for charity and to help people. There have been some great tributes that have come out from the space station. Astronaut Terry W. Virts, I loved his tribute, which is him holding up the Vulcan Live Long and Prosper sign against the backdrop of the Earth out the window. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram literally just taking just a photo of their hand, which has been pretty cool.
Another cool tribute that's going on right now is the Star Trek Online game that Cryptic Studios did is still online. People are still playing it. They are actually building a memorial for Leonard Nimoy, I believe on Vulcan, that will go live in the game with the March 5th update. So there'll be a permanent memorial to Leonard Nimoy, and fans have, on their own, gone and had a silent wake on Vulcan, where they've just had their characters go and stand in honor of him. There's a picture of it I can share with you guys real quick that they were shown on The Verge. I mean, it's literally just the planet Vulcan in the game and a bunch of players standing around the center square.
That's cool. That reminds me when City of Heroes was the big game, the first MMO where you got to play as superheroes. In the starting area called Atlas Park, there was just this giant superhero statue that was basically the meeting area where people would just gather, and do community events with their guilds or whatever. That game was live when Christopher Reeves died, and in every server, in all the games across, everybody was in Atlas Park, and all the superheroes were just basically standing there saluting the big statue of the main superhero. It was kind of a cool thing.
It's times like that you remember the internet can do really cool things to pay tribute to folks. It's not all about dick and fart jokes and trolling and the crazy insanity you see from time to time. A lot of times you'll see
of humanity.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll get to see now the good side of the internet when something terrible happens and people come together. And I kind of like it. So it's kind of a bummer that Leonard Nimoy has passed. I think the real tragic thing that's going on right now is how many fans are giving William Shatner hell on Twitter and social media right now because he had a prior commitment. He's doing a Red Cross event with the Red Cross today, and he can't make it back to Los Angeles in time to be there for Leonard Nimoy's funeral because this has been booked months in advance, and there's people giving him hell on social media for it, and that's ridiculous.
He's doing a Red Cross event?
He's doing a Red Cross event, and you got to remember, Bill Shatner's what, like mid-'80s? It's not easy to fly across the country. He's in Florida, I believe, is where the Red Cross event was, and Leonard Nimoy's funeral, I believe, is out in L.A.
I think he's the same age as Leonard Nimoy was.
He might be. But I saw him tweeting about the fact that people should just enjoy their lives because that's what Leonard would have wanted. Anybody that's giving Shatner shit about being at a Red Cross event and not be able to make it to a work colleague's funeral, it's not like they were best friends. It's a guy he worked with. He's not really Captain Kirk. And yeah, he had a prior commitment. That's he's probably doing a charity event if it's Red Cross.
Right.
So fuck everybody that's giving him shit.
It's a bummer to see things happen like that when you have the good things that happen on the internet. I mean, you take the good with the bad. That's how it goes.
Well, if you go on any YouTube comment stream, you just see fucking idiots everywhere. So.
Well, that's true too.
Except for our YouTube comments, we don't have fucking idiots in our YouTube comments. I didn't go off camera for almost a year because of our YouTube commenters. No.
Oh, that's because
Right.
you wake up 10 minutes before the show starts.
Hey, fuck off.
So on that note, let's move into some happier news, some less sad news. I guess let's roll into our news of the week.
News of the week.
I can do mine quick and first if we want to go off the fact that there are bad YouTube comments.
Yeah, let's go with yours first.
Because it's very simple. The reason there are those YouTube comments is because the internet's free.
For
The
those not
FCC
familiar,
did their ruling.
yes.
Go ahead, Chris. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, for those that weren't familiar, this is about the FCC ruling, but you beat me to it.
Yeah, so was it a Thursday? Did the ruling, the partisan vote 3-2, and basically said that no, cable companies will not be able to buy the internet. They will not be able to charge Netflix more money to put their signals into a faster stream. They will not be able to block certain websites or providers. So at this point, the internet is still free, which means, yes, we get the good with the bad. For every great, community event like they're doing, on Vulcan in the Star Trek game, to do a silent vigil for Spock, we have to deal with all the douchebag trolls comments on YouTube. But it's better to have the freedom than to have it, locked up and under government control and have the FCC in there poking around everything in the internet.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and there's also the fact that now they can't make you pay for like priority service or be like, if you're a Netflix user, you need to be on this tier to make sure you get your priority Netflix service, and it's going to be useful for companies like Netflix and Amazon who do a lot of the video streaming when they set up, I guess the interconnects, and I'm not using the right term here because I had a complete brain fart, but when they have to pay to make sure their video content goes to Comcast and things like that.
Yeah.
It's going to make for a more fair, more open internet. There are people, obviously the big ISPs and stuff like that, we know they're going to sue because they don't like this ruling. And I was surprised actually to see Mark Cuban is one of the people that has been decrying this ruling by the FCC. And I don't agree with much of anything he said on it. He's basically saying, hey, if you really want to be open, you need to have them just put their own controls based off of you choose who's best. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way, dude. I can only get one, maybe two different providers in my local area. It's not like there's 4,000 different providers.
Yeah, the open free market only works if there's more than 4 cable companies crossing the entire United States. Here in Idaho, we only have 2 choices. Well, I mean, I guess technically 3. You can either get Dish Network, DirecTV, or Cable One. That's it. It's not like it's an open market with 10 different providers to choose from.
It's a different world here versus like in Europe and things like that, where you might have 6, 7 different providers that make use of the same infrastructure, but the person next door to me could have provider A, I could have provider C, because it's better cost for me. They just have a little better off in that regard, but there's also the fact that, hey, we've got a lot of landmass to try and stretch cable over to get this to happen. And I don't know about you, I don't want satellite internet because it blows.
Yeah.
If we had satellite internet, I would never be able to video stream anything for this show, for instance, because the upload is goddamn ridiculous. Yeah,
this show would never be live, that's for sure.
Yeah, unless you did like a Skype way to do it, but yeah, SP brings up a good point in the chat room. He goes, hotel Wi-Fi, while better than 10 years ago, still sucks, for instance.
It does, which is why when I travel, I'm not on.
I still have unlimited data on my phone, so I never even use the Wi-Fi in the hotels. I'm like, okay, on Netflix, go. They love it when I go on travel because my I use like 4 or 5 gigs of data.
Nice.
And I just straight up don't give a fuck. Just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, but I was actually honestly surprised. This honestly surprised me, though, this news that they actually passed the open internet rules. The FCC got it through. That's not to say it's actually going to end up happening, because God knows how many people are going to sue and how it'll go through Congress and things like that. But it's a step in the right direction.
Yep. Yeah, I figured they'd go the opposite way, and then people would have to sue to try to get it back to being net neutrality. I was actually really shocked that, they did the right thing. Now it's just a fight to try to keep it that way.
Well, guys, it's been a good run, but Chris just fired me. Bye.
Bye, Naki.
No, there was a smiley there that showed that was a joke. Come on, that's typical internet lingo. If you put the :P, that means it's a joke. You're teasing.
That's right. You can say anything you want as long as you end it with LOL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad. I guess I'm not fired then.
You're on suspension for a week. How about that?
Oh, okay.
You're suspended.
Which
also, thank you. Thank you, SP, for reminding me that next week I'll be in a hotel and therefore not able to be on the show.
That's why you're suspended now.
That's true. Goodbye, world.
So,
I won't be able to tell you what my meat sweats.
Oh, you could call into the voicemail and leave us a message, and we'll play it on the air if you want.
Oh, we could do that. I just wanted to remind you that I've had a meat orgy in my mouth.
Before we move off this topic, Dr. Bob brings up a good point in the chat room about the open internet. He goes, the businesses threatening to sue are typically the ones cheating the consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Comcast cable user, yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones already making billions and want to figure out a way to make more billions. So, fuck them.
And I guess the thing we didn't touch on that I meant to is that this also applies to your wireless internet, so your cell phone internet and stuff like that. All of these rules have come into play for that too, so they can't prioritize traffic down there and say, oh, you were using too much Netflix, we're going to cut off your Netflix and things like that. That is against the rules.
I am also a Comcast subscriber, and this makes me sad. I'm just saying.
That you're a Comcast subscriber, or the ruling makes you sad?
That I'm a Comcast subscriber.
Got you. I was like, this ruling is
that makes sense.
No, this ruling is fantastic. Like, I did a little jump in the air and like threw the hat off, and then it was a freeze frame for a second. But
yeah, it was kind of funny because I read it at work in the middle of the afternoon on Thursday, and I was like, yes, net neutrality, the internet's still free, and all the ladies at work are like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? It's like, you people have no idea what's going on in the world. The FCC almost sold the internet, and you didn't even know about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't understand, and quite honestly, probably don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to realize
they
that
would when all of a sudden their
Netflix
Netflix started buffering.
I love Netflix, and I hate Hulu, even though I'm using Hulu. But I hate new Hulu. I don't understand the point.
I don't use Hulu anymore.
What's wrong with new Hulu?
Well, the fact that you're still paying to watch commercials. That pisses me off.
Oh, it's been that way forever, though.
I know. That just pisses me off, though.
No,
I just always have.
I thought it was really stupid. Then I heard that they did finally upgrade parts of it. So like on kids shows, there's no commercials. On the Criterion Collection movies, there's no commercials. So like they made it to where it's partially no commercial. I still think once you're paying for it, there shouldn't be commercials on Hulu Plus. But yeah, at least they've upgraded it somewhat.
Yeah, I mean the kids shows, there's no commercials. By the way, they finally put on Hulu. They finally put on the Wonderful World of Flapjack, which was one of my favorite shows. So we've been watching that one. But like we're watching season 7 of Parks and Rec because that's how fast we've been going through Parks and Rec. And like there was one point where the episode had 5 commercials in one break. And then there was another break, and it was another 3 commercials, and it's like literally every 5 minutes that we have to watch commercials. I'm like, I would just watch this on network TV, then and have less commercials.
And if it's on network TV, I'll have recorded it so I can fast forward through the commercials.
There's that too.
I just want season 7 to be on Netflix now, so I don't have to watch these commercials.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. Let's see. Let me move on to some other news. I'll go next with my news of the week. And this was just cool news that broke late in the week. The Supergirl pilot. We all know that's coming soon. There's been a lot of casting news that's been coming out. But by far one of the coolest bits of news that's come out is that Dean Cain and Helen Slater have been cast in top secret roles on the show. And if you don't remember who that is, Dean Cain is effing Superman from the New Adventures of Lois and Clark. And Helen Slater is Supergirl from the movie.
In all fairness, you could have forgot that Helen Slater was Supergirl, but if you didn't remember that Dean Cain was Superman, there's something wrong with you.
And they're also both Smallville alum also, because Dean Cain was basically Vandal Savage in Smallville, and Helen Slater was Kara Zor-El's mother in Smallville. So that's really cool. And you've got to imagine, remember, these are the same showrunners that are doing like Flash and things like that. So they like to cast the old characters as parents. So my guess is you get Dean Cain and Helen Slater as the Kryptonian parents in this spinoff.
As you can take my nerd card away, I didn't know that Dean Cain was Superman.
Oh, you're fired. Twice this show you've been fired.
I know. What? I never watched The Adventures of Superman.
The Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Whatever. I never watched it.
Well, that's because you weren't a teenage boy when it was on TV, and
I never liked
completely
Superman.
Infatuated with Terry Hatcher.
As a kid, I didn't even like Superman. I watched the Christopher Reeves movies, and I liked those, but I've never liked Superman. So I literally never watched anything that had to do with Superman.
Right. I watched the New Adventures of Lois and Clark as a kid, and it was more. I didn't care about the soap opera parts, but I was like, yeah, Superman.
It was
He's gonna kick some
Superman on
ass.
primetime TV. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never liked Superman, so I can't.
Dean Cain did a good job. It was kind of campy. It was like halfway between like the Christopher Reeves movies and the '66 Batman. Like it was somewhere in the middle. Because there were some really like serious episodes, but a lot of that show was just pure camp. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was fun. He had a great. His Clark Kent was great. I love Dean Cain's Clark Kent.
Yeah.
See, but we've had this. We've had this discussion before. I find Superman to be incredibly boring, so I don't particularly find anything for him.
See, that's why this show is more fun. Is it was more centered around the Clark Kent character and Clark Kent's family and friends, and the Superman character. Yep. He plays a part in that, but you're more interested in how does this relate to Clark. You don't care as much about the Superman part.
There was very little time spent in the suit as Superman on that show. It was usually Clark and Lois dealing with each other.
Draftsman in the chat room says, hey, Dean Cain is also half Japanese, so Naki, how dare you not support an Asian being the Man of Steel?
Oh my god. Don't get me wrong, I didn't know that, so that's pretty cool. But,
yep.
I don't care about Superman. I don't.
No, I understand that, and this was one of the things that I just enjoyed it. I'm not saying I love Superman. It was just a fun TV show for me, and it was a superhero show, and I cannot remember the guy's name to save my life, but the guy that played Lex Luthor was really good at being evil.
Oh, their Lex was good too. And yeah, I was never a huge DC or a Superman fan, but that show was fantastic. And yeah, he is an extremely boring character because he's an invincible god. But when he's written well, he can make for some amazing stories. You gotta look for Superman trade paperbacks that have the name Mark Waid on them. There's some good stuff there.
Mark Waid.
Generally, when it has Mark Waid on it, period, anything you can enjoy it.
Or if you want to read Mark Waid's Superman, where he has no limits basically and is insane, go read Irredeemable, because that's basically crazy Superman.
I don't know, his Daredevil, yeah, his Daredevil is where he's at, honestly.
So, looking in the chat room, Jay Webb has said, Bach, you might be overselling slightly between Reeves Superman and 66 Batman. Sounds awesome. Imagine a Batman v Superman like that.
That would be awesome.
That'd be a fun comic.
Get rid of a bomb.
I want the shark repellent. There has to be shark repellent.
SP chimes in, he goes, I like Superman because Christopher Reeves. I'll always look at him in those lights. Christopher Reeve was perfect in that movie. I mean, he makes you believe a man will fly.
I enjoyed the Christopher Reeves movies, and I'll still turn them on as background noise, but I can't ever say that I actively look out for things that have Superman on it. Like, I got pissed off the other day because I was looking for new workout shirts, and literally all there is Superman and Captain America. I finally found a Deadpool one, but I was like, I don't give a shit about either of these characters. Did you know there's 9 billion other comic book characters in the world?
Yeah, but Superman equals money. There's a lot of people that do love Superman, and because he's so iconic, so I kind of understand why they pick that one.
Yeah, but it just gets frustrating because there's not a whole lot for girls out there that are like just nerdy workout shirts. Like, for the most part, we have to wear the slim down yoga stuff, and it's really annoying.
There's a nice website called thinkgeek.com that has a
but they don't have workout. Like, I'm looking specifically for active wear because I sweat because I work out.
Under Armour, alter ego.
Work out. Yeah, well, I know, that's the thing that I'm gonna have to do. Like, that's the thing that pisses me off, is that I have to buy a guy shirt if I want a nerdy workout shirt. But I found a Deadpool one that I like and that I have now, and I've got a couple things from like that are like Train Insane or whatever, Beast Mode, or Train Like a Beast, Look Like a Beauty. Even then, like, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I just want funny shirts.
So, a no prize goes to Jay Webb in the chat room. He reminded me that John Shea was Lex Luthor in The New Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, I got the IMDb. I was going to mention it. Yeah, he was on Mutant X, and then other people now might know him he was on Gossip Girl, and he's Jeffrey Agos, I guess is the name, on The Good Wife.
Okay.
I haven't seen either of those two shows, but I mean that's two other big shows. People might know him from those.
Yeah,
I was
Draftsman,
waiting for Anthony's confession that he loves Gossip Girl and he watches it all the time.
Never seen it.
Draftsman's brought up a good point, too. We'll wrap up the Superman talk with this. He goes, it was an okay show, and let's face it, the show existed in a more innocent time for superheroes on TV. By that he means it's all before the Nolan reboot of Batman, so all heroes were campy to a certain degree.
Yeah, there was no grim and gritty yet. That Superman was fun.
Yeah.
Although The Flash is not a grim and gritty show. I can't put it in the grim and gritty.
I think it's going to have some moments coming soon.
I'm still behind, so don't spoil it.
I'm not spoiling. I'm just saying, based off what we know is going to happen, I think it's going to have some moments.
But I don't think it's grim and gritty. It has serious moments. Because like the whole show starts with his mom dying in a murder scene. I mean, it wasn't like the planet Krypton blew up and you don't see people die. Like literally the start of the show is his mom being murdered in front of the kid. That's pretty serious. But yeah, the show's not grim and gritty. It's definitely the funnest of the superhero shows out there right now.
I think he's just a guy who's happy to be a superhero. Like it's not like Arrow where he's like, I have to save this city. I'm brooding and disgusting. And like, that's my Oliver Queen impression. And
I have to save the city. I have to save the city. I have to save the city.
Yeah,
I must save this city.
You have failed this city. Like it's nothing like that. Like I like the fact that Barry Allen is literally just happy to be a superhero. Like holy shit, look what I can do. Which is what I would be if I ever got superpowers. I would just be like, look at this, guys.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, yeah. We got off topic again. We're really good at that.
So, Naki, what do you have for your news this week? I think we've kind of drummed the Superman stuff into the ground.
Speaking of grim and gritty, there was a Power Rangers reboot fan film that came out this week that was fucking awesome.
It had the Dawson in it.
It did. It had James Vanderbeek as Rocky and Katie Sackhoff as Kimberly, and basically like they went through this like they turned the Power Rangers Rita, and like then Rocky turns on the Power Rangers and he kills all of them, and oh my god, it was so good. It was grim. It was grim and gritty, but the thing that got me, like, and I highly recommend looking at this, and because it was just like to me, like that's the way that Power Rangers would have looked if we were 10 years old now. When that show came out, it was, and it still pretty much is, really cheesy, and it's bad Japanese dub, and it's but to me that's still like one of the first shows that like that introduces you into the Japanese way of doing TV shows. The cheesiness, the bad special effects, all of that stuff. The thing that got me though is the comments. Now, I'm not one who generally reads YouTube comments because, again, I was off camera for almost a year because of them, and it was, well, that and other reasons, but there was they're just bad. YouTube comments are terrible, but there was a whole, like, slew of them of people talking about how they're tired of grim and gritty and how cheesy it is and the fight scenes are terrible. I'm like, have you ever watched Power Rangers? Like, Power Rangers, if you watch it now, is really fucking dumb.
Shit, those fight scenes were awesome.
But at the same time, like, you love them because that's what you know as what Power Rangers is this cheesy fucking TV show where teenagers are the are the saviors of the world because they got granted these rings that suddenly turn them into these superhuman fighting machines, and they control robots and they fight aliens. Like, it is a cheesy thing, and it's fine. It's wonderful. I love it. I still love Power Rangers, and I still put it on because it's all on Netflix. And it's just like the YouTube comments is what killed me for that, because I was just like, why are you fucking bringing it? Like, and then the fact that Tommy was not,
Jason David Frank, you mean?
Thank you. Jason David Frank was not Tommy. And to me, that was okay. I mean, he is always Tommy to me, but even now, watching him in UFC or whatever.
Well, did you see his response to that? He was actually offered the role. He didn't have the time to go and do it because of the other video stuff he's been doing. Like, the Bat and the Sun guys do those superhero beatdown videos where he reprised his role a couple times as Tommy, and he's been doing his web series with them. So he didn't have the time, and at the same time in that video, he really said that he did not. While the movie he thought it was interesting and good, he didn't really think it was Power Rangers. Didn't have the spirit of it. Basically, the dude wants to get a paycheck in the upcoming movie, so he wasn't going to play in that one.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, is that if Power Rangers was in the dark and gritty universe, that would be a really fucking fantastic movie. And yeah, the fight scenes were cheesy, and it didn't really make, like, if they had time and it wasn't just a 15-minute YouTube video, if they had given it the full, like, maybe hour and a half, yeah, you would have gotten the whole backstory and,
well,
like...
You guys do know that this whole video is kind of a parody of the whole grim and gritty reboot nature of everything, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're making fun of that.
Because, making Power Rangers grim and gritty is about as far as you can go other than doing, like, the grim and gritty Powder Puff Girls.
Yes.
Which, again, that would also be awesome, because have you ever watched the Powerpuff Girls? Come on.
Yeah. Get Katie Sackhoff and two other badass chicks and put them in those outfits and have them flying around kicking the shit out of a giant monkey. I'll watch it.
I could watch it.
Trisha, oh god, what's her name? Trisha from
Trisha
yes,
Helfer.
Thank you.
Number
So
6.
just bring back the Battlestar Girls.
She would be a great Blossom, and then Katie Sackhoff as Buttercup, and I'm thinking Summer Glau as Blossom, Buttercup, Bubbles. Yeah, so Buttercup.
Looking in the chat room real quick,
I'd watch it.
Draftsman's been on point with a lot of what he said tonight, and I got to agree with it again. He goes, I mean, we have this nostalgia for the show, and I really love that we have to admit we grew up, and it's better than the Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and the Michael Bay set of adaptations.
Fuck yeah!
True. That one short film shows you, that someone with, as much smaller budget and a love of a property can do a much better version. Plus, I talked about it on the other show on Thursday that it's amazing with these, fan films. I put fan films in quotes because fan films used to be like a kid with his VHS recorder in his backyard, doing a 5-minute segment of Star Wars. These are like directors basically calling them fan films because they don't want to get sued for using somebody else's IP. But they're, low-budget independent films that are fucking fantastic. The Dragon Ball Z one is also really good that came out. I saw the link was shared this week. I think it's called Light of Hope. Even if you're not a Dragon Ball Z fan, go watch that. It's a 15-minute film, and it's some of the best CGI'd fight scenes I've ever seen in a live-action movie. And it's just, a fan film.
Hey guys, you got to admit in this, the Dawson was pretty badass.
Oh yeah, Dawson was great. I loved his Robo-Foot. His Robo-Foot just stomping that.
And I don't know if you guys had heard this for a while. There was kind of a fight going between Saban and the director and producer of this. Saban had it pulled down temporarily because they said this is infringing on their rights, things like that. So like the Vimeo version got pulled down almost immediately because they thought they didn't like the nudity in it, and they said it was infringing on their property rights. And then also the YouTube version eventually got pulled down until they made an agreement that basically in the body description of this video, they have to put text that say this is not associated with Saban Entertainment, anything like that. It's an independent fan film creation. Because the director was getting really pissed on Twitter, the director and the producer, because they're like, look, we're making no money. This is an homage. It's a fan film. It's for fun. We're not trying to make any money. I made zero on this. We're not monetizing it. You can't just pull it down.
Well, and I'll say it again. Fuck Saban. He bought an old Japanese show and repurposed it in America and made billions. It's not like he came up with an original idea.
Yeah, I mean, he's protecting his property. I sort of get that because this does not at all fit with what the Power Rangers are.
But it's very clearly satire. It's very clearly satire.
I mean, it even could possibly be what the Power Rangers are. Like in the 15-minute clip, which I highly recommend watching, it's just Power/Rangers on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, go watch it. It's a blast.
It'll be in the attached show notes for this episode too.
If Kimberly, Katie Sackhoff, who plays Kimberly, is just like, you never were a ranger. You never really knew what it was to be a ranger. It was really like they had like that heart of it, but they kept it grim and gritty, and it was definitely a satire of what Power Rangers could have been instead of being that cheesy show that we watched as children. But even then, I love the cheesy show, whatever. So.
Looking in the chat room, there's been some really good comments going back and forth. Jay doesn't really agree with Jason David Frank's impressions on the video. Meanwhile, Draftsman brings up a good point. He goes, he just needs to chill out, Jason David Frank. He's basically always going to be the Green Ranger, just like Adam West is always Batman.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, JDF is kind of locked into that role.
I mean,
Look, we know why he's saying that. It's because he wants a paycheck in the future. You're going to say the smart thing there, and because everything in his life, monetary-wise, his fame is kind of built around that role. And that's not to say he doesn't do other things, but his Hollywood cred is built around being the Green Ranger.
And he knows it.
And
That's
a
why he
version
did
of
it
the
for
Green
fucking
Ranger
20
that's
years.
yeah, and a version of the Green Ranger that's very kid-friendly. This remake is not, the fan film is definitely not a kid-friendly version of the Power Rangers, and his stuff is always focused at kids whenever he's doing stuff at conventions and stuff.
Right.
He's all about the little kids, so
And
it makes sense that he wouldn't want to see a dark and gritty version of the Power Rangers.
Right, and I'm not dogging on Jason David Frank at all. He's entitled to his opinion, and I love what he does for fans at conventions and stuff like that. He is
The dude's awesome.
He's one of the nicest folks on the convention circuit from everything I've heard. He's always talking to fans. He's willing to take pictures. He's a cool guy.
He's really nice to his crew, too.
Yeah.
As somebody who's been on his crew.
So I got one last story to run through real quick, and then we're going to bring a game out of the vault to play this week. But this last story, did you guys hear that there is another spinoff coming from the Arrow and Flash team?
Yes, indeed.
Have you heard this one, Naki?
What?
Yes.
What?
This is
I'm
coming
out
from
of the loop.
This is coming from Deadline.com. It's been reported in multiple places. They're doing a spin-off show that's almost going to be like a team-up show. In the rumored cast that is going to be in this show is you're going to have the Atom, Brandon Routh. You're going to have Captain Cold, Wentworth Miller. Victor Garber, who is half of Firestorm. And get this, this is the one that surprised the hell out of me. Katie Lotz will be starring in this show. And if you're not familiar with who that is, that's Sarah Lance from Arrow.
I missed a lot from Arrow in the past 3 weeks, haven't I?
Well, you haven't missed that.
Yeah, no, her character's still dead.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
But she might be alive on the Brave and the Bold TV show, which that's what I'm calling it now. It's just the Brave and the Bold.
Right, and there's a few different rumors going around. Some people think this might be a prequel to what we're seeing with Arrow and Flash, because if you look at the casting list, Robbie Amell has not been cast, so I don't think they can do Firestorm without Robbie Amell since he's the body.
No, if you do a prequel, you can't have Brandon Routh in the suit as Adam, because he just invented the suit.
Right, so you want to know my conspiracy theory for what's going to happen here?
Kittens everywhere?
First two?
Yes. That could be that, but here's what I'm thinking. We've got everything in Flash has been building up towards the Flashpoint event, basically. Barry's going to want to go back to stop Zoom from killing his mother, and if you watch Flashpoint, that's what creates the Flashpoint universe. I think we're getting a Flashpoint show.
If they did a Flashpoint Paradox TV show, that would be fucking amazing.
Because if you think about it, here's how you do it. Captain Cold is a villain, but in the Flashpoint world, he's Citizen Cold. He's a good guy. He's a hero.
Yeah. But did we really, really need Aquaman and Wonder Woman? Because that's the whole point of that Flashpoint Paradox.
I was gonna say, if you have not, if you don't feel like reading the Flashpoint Paradox, the Flashpoint movie that DC put out, it was an animated film, fucking great. It was so good. And it was much more violent. Well, I mean, it was as violent as it was in the comic, but they don't usually put that amount of violence in their animated shows or their animated movies. Holy shit, they put all the violence in.
The problem with the animated movie, and it was fun, is the fact that you don't get as much of the Batman story. And the Batman in the Flashpoint universe, his story is awesome. And for those who aren't familiar,
what they do cover was done extremely well in basically 3 scenes in the movie.
Yeah, and for those that aren't familiar, Batman in the Flashpoint universe is Thomas Wayne, because instead of Thomas and Martha getting gunned down, it's Bruce Wayne that gets gunned down after the movie. So Thomas goes on to become the Batman to avenge that, and his wife has a snap, her mind snaps, and she becomes the Joker.
It's actually really, really well done.
Deliciously creepy and awesome. And if this new Brave and the Bold show or this new spin-off show is a Flashpoint world, there is a hell of a lot of fun stories you could pull out of that. I don't think it's going to happen because you don't want to confuse the common person and be like, hey, this is the same team, we're going to use some of the same actors, but it's a completely different universe.
And I don't think we're going to get a drunken Batman on screen that uses pistols.
Yeah, that's true too.
As much fun as that would be.
And a female Joker.
Yeah, and a female Joker. I don't think we're going to get, the Thomas Wayne Batman chucking bodies off of buildings.
It's hella fun though, man. Hella fun. But that is an awesome story. These guys are really busy now, if you think about it. They've got Arrow and Flash.
Oh.
They've got the Supergirl spinoff, which is greenlit, at least a pilot. And then they've got this Arrow and Flash team-up show, or I mean spinoff show on the CW also. CW is becoming like the superhero place to watch TV shows.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, that and ABC, because I don't care what anyone says. Agent Carter was fucking awesome.
Speaking of
still haven't
CW,
watched it.
I started watching my box set of Birds of Prey.
I haven't seen
It's
that
pretty
one yet.
funny.
Yeah.
It was like $7 on Amazon for the whole DVD series. The first gangster thug that attacks Black Canary on that show is frickin' Aaron Paul.
Is it really?
Oh, wow.
Nope. He's the first actual like bad guy you see outside of the Joker. I turned it on, I was like, oh my god, that's like 14-year-old Aaron Paul. That is awesome.
Oh, speaking of which, I finally saw the first episode of Better Call Saul.
For Better Call Saul, you have to watch the second episode because basically parts 1 and 2 are just one giant episode.
Oh, I figured, but I haven't. I've only watched the first episode so far. So
I am loving the hell out of Better Call Saul. Let me just put it that way. It's fun.
I like that it's both flash forward and flashback.
All right, we'll talk about this real quick, then we'll move on. There's an awesome
Flash
theory I
forward
heard.
in it.
The very
And
first
the-
episode, the first 5 minutes is a flash forward to post Breaking Bad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an awesome theory I heard. There's another podcast I listened to called Cord Killers, and they suggested that possibly what could happen here is Better Call Saul, the first couple seasons could take place in the past to lead up to everything we know in Breaking Bad, and then jump forward to post Breaking Bad. So you see the rise and fall of Saul, or Jimmy, I guess in this case. But
Yeah,
Nice.
it's like it. Even like I knew the first episode was gonna be kind of slow because it's it's all the build up, but it still got me hooked. I'm gonna watch it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna wait. Like how I did with Breaking Bad. I wasn't sure if I was gonna wait or not, but I think I'm actually gonna watch it as it goes.
I need to finish Breaking Bad still.
Oh my god!
Jay's in the same boat as I am in the chat room. He goes, I still have not watched
Wow.
any Breaking Bad. I'm still at the season 3 finale because I just got stuck. I'm going to finish it, but Better Call Saul hasn't really spoiled me on Breaking Bad, and I haven't gotten spoiled on the end of Breaking Bad yet. So that's
Finish! Holy shit! Breaking Bad, like, where is it? I think where you're at. Okay, tell me the last thing you saw so I don't spoil anything.
It's right before they're about to have a falling out with Gus, basically at the end of season 3.
Okay, holy shit! Oh my god! Finish Breaking Bad.
I'm going to. Don't worry.
That's your goal for this week is to finish Breaking Bad so we could just talk about that.
That's
Yeah,
not going to be a this week task. It's going to be spread
Oh,
out
wait,
over
no.
the next few weeks.
I'm not here next week, so do it the weekend.
No,
Finish by the week after.
Naki, there's too much other stuff I have to watch right now that I have to
there's
podcast
not.
about.
No, there
Things
isn't.
like that.
No, there isn't.
Yeah,
You just
whatever.
need to watch Breaking Bad.
You need to finish Breaking Bad.
I will finish Breaking Bad at some point. Don't worry.
I'm gonna spoil it for you if you don't.
If you do that, I will not come back on the show.
That's a lie.
Scott Williams in the
Christian,
chat room. He wants us to
Tell
talk
them to
about
fire
House.
yourself.
Scott Williams in the chat room. He wants to talk about House of Cards, and I was like, I haven't seen any of that either. It's on
I
my
haven't watched
list.
the
to-
new season yet.
I
And
actually
a
was
friend just
debating
let me borrow
starting
their
that.
Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch.
I was debating starting that last night, but then we started watching Parks and Rec. That might actually, once we finish Parks and Rec, will probably be the next show I watch. So
I've watched the first 2 seasons. It is a spectacularly well done show, and they take real good advantage of the Netflix thing of like the episode doesn't have to be a certain length, and so you'll literally get. I think there's a couple of them that are real short, like 30 or something, and then some of the other ones will stretch out past the 40-minute mark, and like there's 1 or 2 that are like in the 50-minute mark. So they really make it to where whatever the script for that episode is, the episode is that long. That's what it takes to get the story in. And yeah, freaking Sean Penn's ex-wife, Robin Penn.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, yeah, she is creepily good. Her character is scary and just amazing. And then yeah, Kevin Spacey, it's one of the coolest things he's ever done. His character is just fantastic to watch on screen. It's like on par with watching Bryan Cranston be Walter White, is
Yeah.
watching Kevin Spacey on House of Cards. It's that good.
Draftsman says in the chat room, based off where I am in Breaking Bad, shit is about to get real for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
Shit is about to get real.
Shit is about to get some crazy.
Don't
You're-
worry, guys. I'll get there. I'll get there. I have to start the rewatch of Battlestar Galactica sometime soon too, because I'm due for
No,
one.
don't.
You
No,
can't
no.
rewatch anything else when you haven't finished Breaking Bad.
Guys, I
Right,
love
you, like,
I love
you-
Battlestar
you-
Galactica more than I love almost anything else. So
I mean, Breaking Bad was one of those shows that, like, I came into it with not high expectations because I was like, it's Bryan Cranston. He's the funny guy from Malcolm in the Middle. Like, I really liked him in Malcolm in the Middle. And then, holy fucking shit, you know, you get this. And then, like, they wrapped it up so well. Like, you very rarely get a good ending to TV shows that, you know, Lost. You know, whatever happened to Heroes, and you know, just like very rarely do
Heroes
you
returned.
fuck that. Very rarely do you get a really well packaged show from beginning to end that you can watch all of it and you will still love all of it. Like even like Scrubs was perfect until you get to season 9.
that doesn't
But-
exist.
You know,
Vince Gilligan's the man.
he's got it with Breaking Bad, and I'm just like, that's why I'm like, you need to finish it.
It's on the list, guys. Don't worry, I'll get to
It's one
it.
of those ones I'm waiting to see at what point I'm going to want to rewatch it, because it's one of those shows that's so powerful that all the shit that happens in the last season and a half, it's like I'm still not ready to go through that again.
Guys, don't worry, it'll happen. I'm just letting you know. But come on, we got to bring something out of the vault here, guys. We bring something out of the vault. We're gonna bring back
Is it
an old
vault
game.
time?
We're bringing something out of the vault. I promise. It's going to be fun. You're going to love it. It's a game we haven't played in forever, and it's one that we sort of ripped off from a friend of ours, the Fanboy Buzz, but since they're dead, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yay!
It's a game that we call Clever Cosplay that they called Cocky Cosplay. And for those that aren't familiar, what we're going to do here is we're going to take some cosplays that are creative in how bad they are, I think is the best way to put it.
Long
And
live
we're
the
gonna put
Fanboy
them-
Buzz.
We're going to put them up on the screen here. I'm going to ask either Naki or Anthony to describe them, and then we'll give our opinions on them. And it will be glorious, and I'd like to give credit to Jay Webb for making me think of this, because he sent me one on Facebook this morning. I went, oh my god, we have to talk about this on the show. So,
I think I saw that one already then.
yeah. Are you guys ready to play Clever Cosplay?
Yay!
Our
let's
first
do this.
one, we have a gentleman cosplaying as the Hulk. And
I saw-
Naki, I'm going to let you describe this to our listeners.
Okay, so this kind of looks like a pop vinyl version of the Hulk, but in human size, but made with sheets, and I think that's bubble wrap with some green tape on it. It's actually, like, to me, like, that's all I thought of was that it's a pop vinyl cosplay, just done as cheaply as possible.
It looks
But-
like they got like a 6XL sweatshirt and drew muscles on it.
Yeah, like,
There-
there's
I
actually,
think
like, a
there's-
video.
I
There's a
think
video
there's-
of this guy.
I think
Naki,
it's
there's
two people
in
actually.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. If
And-
you look at it, to look at the feet, and look where the face is in the eye that you can see through, it's actually two people, and their legs are saran wrapped together so that they won't move their legs independently. Which means
And-
these two idiots were hopping through a convention.
Yeah, and if you look at the feet, it looks like there's two pairs of shoes put together on each
Yeah.
leg. So
That's
I think
two idiots under a green laundry basket.
But either way, okay. So here's the thing: there's a video of these people doing this cosplay, and to me, like the video, they know it's a cheaply made costume, and they just torture people, and it's funny. But
yeah, this is them screwing with people, and I kind of enjoy that.
they know that this is a cheaply made, funny costume. So to me, I give it at like they're embracing this, so that's fine by me.
I hadn't thought of it being a Funko Pop version of a Hulk, and now looking at the nose on it and like the shape of the head, that completely makes sense, and I'm much more okay with this cosplay.
Yeah, because if you look at it, I had to pull one off my desk. It has kind of the same stature of a Funko Pop figure. And
Yeah.
I know this is not the Hulk, it's Garrus from Mass Effect, because Garrus is my bro, and if you don't like Garrus, you can go to hell. But it has the same look.
Yeah, the rounded off, giant square head.
Garrus is my bro. So next one, I'll let Anthony describe this one we've got coming up, and it's a twofer, so I'll let you describe whichever one you want in this picture, and then I'll get the other because that's only fair. So here's your next one. It's the X-Men, and well, two X-Men at least. Is this showing up? Or?
That's my favorite.
So Anthony, I'm gonna let you describe this to our listeners here.
Well, we have we have the dirty wife beater kitchen utensil masking tape Wolverine.
That's a good way of putting it.
And yeah, and what is that? Upside down bucket head Magneto with bucket handle still attached.
Oh,
my
the handle.
God! Yeah, the handles. That's the important part. He cut the bucket to get the M shape in the helmet, which is literally just.
I thought it was a KFC
but
bucket.
the fact that the bucket handle is still on, that is what makes him a rock star.
No joke. I thought it was a KFC bucket.
Oh, I thought it was a KFC bucket too.
No, that's an actual bucket. So that means he actually cut the plastic, made it to where it's shaped around his own face, but wasn't willing to take the handle off. What the fuck?
Personally, I really like his drawn-on six-pack on his shirt.
Yeah.
I think that's just clever. He knows that he's supposed to have a six-pack, and he doesn't have one, so he drew it.
No, he don't.
No. Yeah, I also have to love the fact that I think this one's obviously a joke again. I love that Wolverine's claws on one hand is a butter knife, a whisk, and a fork. And on the next hand appears to be a spoon, a pencil, and is that a wooden spoon turned sideways?
I think it's a wooden
it's a wooden spoon, yeah.
And they're straight wrapped around masking tape onto his hand. So yeah, it's definitely a parody one.
Yes.
That's not something some guy's gonna rock and think that he's actually Wolverine.
This image is entitled Magneto, Master of Magnet, if you'd missed that. So we have 2 more images left. We'll go through these ones and start wrapping up. Our next one, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy. And Naki, I'm going to let you describe this to our lovely listening audience.
Fucking shit.
I told you guys I found some good ones this week.
Okay,
shit you did.
So I don't even know where to start. Okay, so Groot is
the easiest place to start, blackface.
Yeah, I mean, we literally have Groot in blackface here with a blonde pixie cut that is kind of spiky with some sticks taped to his shirt, and she has cut a hole in a bucket and is walking around in the bucket. Gamora is a man, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely a dude.
So. With a Nerf gun and a tight black dress that he would wear better than I would, and I'm kind of jealous. But he didn't really go all out with the Gamora outfit. If he was going to go all out, we'd have some spiky ass heels right here. Rocket, I don't even know. Rocket is wearing also in blackface, yes. But Rocket is wearing an orange diaper.
It looks like he's wearing like a black wrestling singlet that they then used orange duct tape.
I think it's orange electrical tape over like tights.
Yeah.
It looks like a diaper though. I'm just saying. Yeah, it looks like an orange diaper.
Yeah.
And then Star-Lord isn't bad because first off they're not in blackface, but he made his mask out of tinfoil, it looks like.
And Dixie cups.
Yeah, it's tinfoil and Dixie cups and I think some permanent marker. And he pasted what looks like yellow construction paper Star-Lord sign on his arm. And that's our Guardians of the Galaxy,
so
guys.
Looking in the chat room, Dr. Bob has said, "Wow, Groot is awesome." The Draftsman says, "This is so bad, it is good." And Jay Webb brings up a good point. He goes, "Gamora is huge. Drax huge."
Yeah, I mean that really he could have just done Drax but if you're more comfortable in a dress, I understand.
But
I mean, there's
Drax
the
is not
freedom of pants.
big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If they had like a little mini Drax to carry around, I would have loved it.
Yeah, the proportions are all off on this. Rocket's too big, Baby Groot's too big. It doesn't make sense. I don't like it.
There's a whole lot in that picture that doesn't make sense.
I'm especially loving Rocket's diaper though. That just.
Well, and the look on her face, it looks like she's filling the diaper currently as they're taking the shot.
Yeah. Jay is joking. He goes, "Hey, the guy's in blackface under the mask." Just to follow the trend.
Bold choice.
Blackface Star-Lord under the mask. That's lovely.
So I have one last image for you, and this one's going to go to Mr. Anthony Bachman to describe. And it is Cyclops from the X-Men movies, rather.
That makes me hungry.
Are you fucking shitting me?
I'm going to let you describe this one to the audience here, Bachman.
Does that even count as a cosplay? It's
I
literally
don't know,
laid
but it
on
was
the
so
ground
dumb I felt I had to share it.
and put a 70-cent 7-Eleven hot dog in a bun across his eyes and had someone take a photo. And apparently that's
That's a
supposed to be
selfie.
Cyclops' visor.
That's a selfie.
I think it's hilarious, though.
Yeah,
It's so
it's
dumb. It's brilliant.
What's ridiculous is how much it does look like Cyclops. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
It's
a
a
So-
10-cent hot dog and a
You're-
10-cent bun in a little plastic container, and he looks like he's got a visor across his face.
You're saying Cyclops' face looks like a sideways wiener?
Yes.
And
Same
hot dogs.
Cyclops has always been a big wiener. He's
So
just a wiener.
Mostly, I pulled this one up while Naki was doing her intro because I wanted to close the show talking about meat also.
Oh god, the
There we
meat
go.
sweats.
So, what I'm going to have to ask you guys, and this is open to the chat room here, is which is our best of the worst cosplay and which is the worst? And as a refresher, we have Funko Pop Hulk, we have the Magneto Master of Magnet, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Hot Dog Cyclops. So, Naki, which one is the best of the worst and which is the worst of the worst here?
My favorite of those is the Funko Pop Hulk.
Funko Hulk.
Yeah, because to me, they knew what they were doing, and that's just what it was. They knew what they were doing. They did it on purpose. So that was the best of the worst.
Which one's the worst of the worst then, Naki?
Oh god, the Guardians. They're so
Guardians.
bad.
I love how the
bad.
guy's doing kissy face Gamora towards the camera.
God,
just noticed
it's just terrible.
so, Anthony, which one's the best of the worst here?
Best of the worst is Star-Lord. If his idiot friends weren't standing near him, he would actually just look like a cheaply done cosplay.
Yeah, fair enough. Which is the worst of the worst then?
Blackface Rocket. Shitting herself. Blackface Rocket taking a dump for the photo. That is the worst of the worst.
In the chat room, I see Draftsman go, guys, please, this is too much. This cannot be real.
Those are
And
awful.
Scott Williams goes, the whole one is terrible. Jay Webb says Hot Dog Cyclops is a close second to the
Hot
Hulk
dog
pick.
Cyclops.
Hot Dog. I guess I need to tell you which one is my favorite. And
Scott's a wiener.
if I have to
Yeah,
pick
it's a
a
wiener.
favorite, it's going to be Buckethead Wolverine. I mean, not Wolverine, Magneto. I would have made it even higher had that been a KFC bucket like I thought originally.
I don't know. I think having the handle on it makes it better than it being a KFC bucket.
Well, I kind of wanted it to be an upside-down KFC bucket and you could see the kernel through the paint. I think that would have been great.
It would have been good. It would have been fitting.
And
It would've
the
been
worst of the
fitting.
worst is totally Hot Dog Cyclops, just because I
That's
think
a
it's
wiener.
ridiculous. Wiener Cyclops!
Scott's a wiener.
Wieners.
How do I know it's you? You're a dick.
Nice callback. Nice pull.
Sticks.
Don't worry, Anthony, you're not alone in your opinions. In the chat room, Dr. Bob says he agrees with Bach.
Yeah, that's right. Blackface Rocket ruins it for everybody.
Draftsman is on fire today. He goes, Cyclops is a one-eye figure of authority. He is a metaphor for a dickhead.
Dickhead.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I love our peanut gallery today.
Our peanut gallery is great.
That has been our return of Clever Cosplay, folks, and we'll bring back some games again from time to time. I know Draftsman in the chat room suggested Porner Pony make a return, so maybe episode 150 we'll bring back Porner Pony.
Sweet.
That's only a
Speaking of
couple
which,
weeks
what
out.
else happens for episode 150?
Nothing, because we've got no submissions.
Oh, just
Oh, that's
kidding.
easy. I don't have to draw nothing.
Yeah. So don't forget, guys, as we're wrapping things up, we are doing a contest on the show that for episode 150 we're going to unveil. And those who don't remember, the whole principle is we want to create our own team of superheroes and supervillains, be them serious, funny, or whatnot. So if you want to create your own superhero for ATGN, go over to contest.atgnpodcast.com or just go to atgnpodcast.com and click on the contest button and fill out that Google form to create your own superhero or supervillain. And what we're going to do is the best one, you're going to win an authentic, original Anthony Bachman drawing of your character. But don't worry, our best hero and best villain and best overall will also be winning a trade paperback comic out of my collection because I'm cleaning out some. So I want to share the comic love with you.
Yeah.
And if nobody does it, I'm going to create Captain Dickhead, who literally will just walk around with a dildo on his head.
Like on a unicorn horn?
I will draw it.
Yeah.
I like it. So don't forget, contest.atgnpodcast.com. We want to unveil them in episode 150. We might push it off if we don't have a lot of them, and we'll play some games and stuff on 150 if we don't. So don't forget, go there. Give us
What
your
episode
submissions.
are we on now?
We want them. We're on 148 right now.
Oh, okay.
So you got a couple.
Maybe I'll spend.
150. That's good.
Maybe I'll spend a couple extra bucks on some beer and just get up at like 8 a.m. and get trashed that Sunday morning.
And extra dicks for everybody.
Sunday is like the worst day of the week to get drunk, man.
Oh, I'll get morning drunk, like straight old school Navy time.
You gotta go to work the next day though.
Yeah, but then you sleep through the afternoon, wake up, and have the rest of the evening. I can do it. I've done it before.
That's true.
Hangover Mondays.
Don't get hangovers. Dr. Bob can attest to that. He knew me in my college days.
Hangovers are terrible.
So we should probably start wrapping things up. We do that in our traditional way on this show, where we're going to share with you, our listeners, our watchers, if you're watching the live stream, what we've been getting into in the last week, what we're planning on getting into. So, Naki, other than getting the meat sweats, what have you been getting into?
You mean other than the orgy of meat in my mouth?
Are you still stuffed full of meat?
Oh, God, I'm so full right now still. I am full of meat. Let's see, this week I have played the shit out of some South Park Stick of Truth. I have finally passed the part where I had gotten stuck before. On top of that, we had the meat sweats. I have been playing a mobile game called Sum Sum that's done by Disney. For some reason, I am hooked on this stupid fucking game. It's so stupid. I don't know why I keep playing it. Other than that, I am in school, so I do that a lot. And I work a lot. And I hate everybody.
You hate everybody?
I'm filled with meat sweats. It makes me hate everybody.
Fair enough. So I'll go next. I've been playing a game on my iPad a lot. It's called Zombie Nation, and I'm hooked to it, and I'm not putting any money into play like some people do, but it is still pretty fun. Basically, the concept is you get to drop different strategic units down on a map, and you have to deal with zombie hordes. So it's like a combination of desktop tower defense and zombies and other cool stuff like that. I have also been reading Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Spider-Man books because it's on that Netflix for comics service that I'm basically using, which is glorious. And I might have I was shared with some of the Gonna Geek guys last night when we were chatting. I might have made a acquisition of something, and I figured I would just share with you in this screenshot. I made an order from the Lego store, and it might be the Shield Helicarrier.
Oh damn! We're gonna
Snapple Dabble.
We're gonna lose Chris.
So I will tell you, when I do get the Shield Helicarrier, I will be taking copious amounts of photos and video, and I will share updates with you guys on the podcast and probably on GonnaGeek.com.
Don't accidentally drop one on the floor and step on it; you'll die.
Yeah, I'm not planning on doing this one quickly. It's going to be fun because it's about 2,000 pieces.
It'll take you a month and a half to put a piece together.
This was my present to myself. I decided I didn't need a new computer like I talked about, so I'll use my tax return on something smaller and put the rest in the bank. But yes, I will be getting the Lego Helicarrier, and it took a lot of self-control for me not to buy the Lego Tumbler, the Batmobile from the Nolanverse, because they actually had it in stock in the Lego store, and it would be a lot of fun to build, but I can't justify spending another $200 on Legos. I just dropped $350 on one set of Legos, and it hurts me a little bit. It hurts me a lot of bit, I think. But that's what I've been getting into, Anthony. What have you been getting into?
We did the second episode of CMYK TV podcast on Thursday nights live. So doing that over on the Points of Interest Podcast Network. I'm going to keep plugging the other network. Haha, John Drew.
I'll edit it out. Don't worry. It'll just be like, beep, network.
Figures. But yeah, that's been fun, just watching all the shows, because, yeah, I was too lazy to do the one show here to just talk Constantine, so we're doing one show over there that talks about every superhero comic book-based TV show. So that's been fun so far, just 2 episodes in, but we're having a blast with it. Been doing some drawings. I actually did Michelangelo, or I did a Donatello drawing from the new Ninja Turtles a couple weeks ago for a friend at work. Her son let me borrow the movie because I refused to pay to watch that Michael Bay thing. But I figured I'd watch it if it was free. Her kids liked it enough that she's actually commissioned me to draw the other 3 turtles. So that's fun. I actually did one drawing for fun, and now I get paid to draw the other 3. So working on that. And then a gigantic stack of comics again, trying to get caught up with my pull list. I dropped $120 on Friday, and I've only gotten through about a third of my stack. I love it, though. Invincible, they actually changed the header. It used to say the best book in the universe. It now says the only superhero comic book you will ever need. And once again, they're right. If I thought about it, and literally if I had to cut down to 1 book a month, if I could only get 1 book, between the writing and the artwork, it would be Invincible. I would cancel everything else. It is the best book I read. It's the first one at the top of my pile every month when it comes out. It's a fucking fantastic book. The Rocket Raccoon that doesn't have blackface, now written by Young and drawn by Jake Parker, is a fun-ass book. Super cartoony, violent, cosmic action. Rocket's still been a blast. And I finally got caught up and read through the end of Spider-Verse, so the big giant stack of Spider books. The final throwdown with the Inheritors was awesome. Some of the stuff they did with the characters was great. Some of it was scary. Fantastic artwork. Great storytelling by Dan Slott, which of course led to Spider-Gwen #1. She's
I need
now
to read
her own book, folks. It's great. The quips that she has are really hilarious. The artwork by Robbie Rodriguez is just fantastic all the way through it. Super fun book. I have a Silk #1's in my pull list. I just haven't picked it up yet. But yeah, Spider-Gwen #1 was fucking great. I also have upstairs. I have all the Action Lab books. Another like 15, 20 of those that I need to read through. And I was able to pick up my shop's last copy of Bitch Planet #1, which I've heard nothing but good shit about. So I'll be able to talk about that one soon. So lots of comics. Lots of comics.
So many comics, so little time.
Yeah, there's still like $300 on my pull list that I need to buy my way through. That's how far behind I am.
I need to get finished with Edge of the Spider-Verse and all that. I have to go to my local shop to pick up the last 2 issues, probably this week, because I've been behind.
It's great, and not only do you need the last 2, like Amazing for Part 5 and Part 6, Amazing Spider-Man 15 is the epilogue. This is really the great one, because this basically shows everything that happens afterwards.
Oh,
this
nice.
is a fantastic issue. Yeah, it's a great wrap-up. Dan Slott's just kicking it out of the ballpark. The motherfucker's amazing. I love the guy, and I actually, after our conversation last week between me and Naki talking about racism and shit in comics, ended up having Did I say Maki? Maki Naki? Naki Maki?
I am not a sushi roll.
Maki. Close enough. But I actually got on Twitter and made some comments and actually had a little back and forth with Dan Slott about whether or not Peter Parker should be white. And it was fucking awesome. I love social media.
I love his take on Peter Parker being doesn't matter what color he is.
Yeah.
Peter Parker is an everyman. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, go read Dan Slott's Twitter over the last week, where he's been having a really good back and forth with fans about it doesn't matter what color Peter is under the mask.
Yeah, and Dan Slott does a really good job of trying to respond to people, because literally I questioned one of his statements, but I wasn't trolling him. I was actually asking a legitimate question, and he had a very legitimate answer for it, which I loved. So he has a little trouble picking through his feed because, of course, he has people just trying to flame him and just be trolls. But he does a great job of going through his Twitter responses and responding to people who are asking him actual questions about the storyline and about the characters he's creating. One of the best ones, though, was somebody who's like, "Oh, but there's never been a black Peter Parker." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm writing the Spider-Verse. Guess what? Ding, just created one."
Yeah.
Especially during this storyline where it's the introduction of every Spider-Man ever. Like, you can't say that there's not something that didn't exist, because Dan Slott can instantly think it up, and it therefore now exists in the Spider-Universe. Because this is the story where they added everything.
There's also the fact that there's nothing in the universe, in the original Peter Parker universe, that inherently ties to him being white. Then we've discussed, and it drives me crazy, and I understand we're going to fight about it forever, but there is nothing that inherently ties him to be white.
I did think of what my final statement on that is, because he's never dealt with racism. That's what makes Peter Parker inherently white. Dan Slott's response to that was that making him a minority makes him more of an underdog, because Peter Parker is the king of the underdogs. It adds more to his character, which I couldn't argue with.
It's been a very interesting dialogue going back and forth with Dan Slott. Watching his responses to people. And I like the fact that he has been open to his fans to have that discussion. Because as you all know, I was not a huge Superior Spider-Man fan. He's brought me on board with the Spider-Verse and things like that. And I enjoy seeing creators like him be open to talking to their fans. I think it's one of the greatest things of social media.
And dude, what they do with Superior Spider-Man at the end of Spider-Verse is fucking awesome.
I can't wait to see it.
It's so well handled. It's so good.
So that's what we've all been getting into or plan on getting into. So you guys have any last thoughts before we close out the show? Because we are running a little over, which is totally worth it, though.
I think the poo is going to be just meat, because it's going to happen soon. I drank too much coffee this morning.
Wow, now Naki's talking about poo. Ladies don't poo, though, Naki.
That's true. We just shit roses.
That's right.
That's my last comment.
And for those that are listening to the podcast, Anthony's holding up the Vulcan salute. So don't forget, folks, we do stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central at live.atgnpodcast.com. You can give us a call at 304-806-ATGN if you have any questions, comments, or just want to give us hell for something we may have said or may not have said on the show. And if you want to listen to us later, go over to GonnaGeekNetwork.com. You can find us and a ton of other awesome shows over there. One last thought I did have. Naki's not going to be with us next week, so anyone in the Peanut Gallery or listening to us later, if you want to fill Naki's seat next week, be one of our guest hosts, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. We'll get you on the show next week, and you can share in all things good and nerdy that we talk about.
All qualifications is that you need to talk about meat and poop.
Or dick butts.
Bacon pancakes.
Bacon pancakes. Making bacon pancakes. Make a bacon and I put it in a pancake.
It's like a catchphrase. It just works.
It really does. Looking in the chat room, Scott Williams has been entering superheroes into our contest, so thank you, Scott.
Yay!
I think he might have just won the one I want to draw.
I think so, too. And don't forget, guys, when we stream live, we love having you guys that are sitting in the Peanut Gallery with us. So a big thanks to SP, Draftsman, Dr. Bob, Jay Webb, and Scott for joining us live on the show today, giving us feedback. We thrive on that. We love doing the show and getting to hear what you guys are thinking and chime in with your comments. It makes it a much more organic and fun experience. So
the Peanut Gallery rocked today.
Yeah. Be part of our Peanut Gallery again in the future, anyone who's listening to us. live.atgnpodcast.com. And that will wrap us up for this week. But don't worry, 2 out of 3 of us will be back next week. Naki might still be sweating off the meats, though.
I might be in the hospital suffering from meat sweats.
Meat overdose?
Meat overdose. Too much protein. Protein injection, too much.
Oh dear God.
Hot beef injections. Sorry.
On that note, we're getting out of here, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Beef injections.
Oh dear.